Welcome back, guys, to another video about Laravel to-do app. In this video we'll be creating our models. Actually the models have been already created in the last video. We'll be working on writing some code and creating some relationship between different models, and hopefully we'll create the projects, our first page, which is going to be the projects after the user attempts to log in, and if the login is successful he can go to projects page and see the first set of tools to begin creating a project. So let's get started with our models. So here in app directory we have all the models. The very first model is the user model, which comes right out of the box. A user, it's already set most of the fields for us. All we have to do is define some relationship. Now the first relationship is going to be public function projects, and it's going to have a user has many projects, and also a user can have many tasks, and we will give it, of course a task cannot exist without a project, so user has many tasks through a project. A user has many tasks through a project, and that's good. Next thing we're going to do is we close this one and then we start working on the project model. A project model, the most important thing first, the very first thing we need to do is we need to use import a class. We need to use soft deletes because we added a soft delete column. We need to use soft deletes. What's going on? Can't type it today. So the very first thing we need to add is soft delete, and hopefully it's I think it's caps, and then and then we can import it. It's already done for us on the top. Make sure to import this class on the top like it has done so. Next thing we need to define is our table. If you don't want to define this, I like to define it explicitly because that way it's always best. So protected table projects, and then we need to define what variables, what database columns we can fill and not fill unless we are authenticated. So to protect us from mass assignment, this is an array that's provided to us by Laravel. We need to make sure we give all the name, slug, description, due date, and completed. Another thing we need to define here is since we have declared soft deletes, we need to define our dates to be treated as carbon instances. So protected dates, and then we define here deleted at. That will take care of the soft deleted at date as a carbon instance. We need to use date accessors to convert our date, the due date, because the due date we define here is going to be stored as a string. That's how it comes up. That's how the data goes inside the database as a string. Everything is string, so we need to parse this to a carbon instance. So we'll use a function, create set due date attribute. We'll pass in our date, and then we'll say this attributes, we're talking to self attributes, and this attributes has due date, carbon, parse date, and we'll import the class on the top. So that's, make sure to import it on the top. Another thing we need to do here is define some relationships. So the relationships that we're going to define is we need to define user, because this belongs to the project, will belong to the user model. This is the inverse of the relationship. Just if you wanna query who this project belongs to, you need to define this relationship. But if you don't want to do that sort of queries, then a user can have many projects is enough. And then of course tasks, it can have many tasks. Pass in the task model, and of course we can also call here has many through method the subtask, and we'll say has many through has many subtask through task, has many subtasks through the task, and that should be okay. And let's just copy the whole thing from the project model to the task model, and here we'll call it tasks table, and make sure to import this one on the top because the copy pasting doesn't do that. And then also make sure to import the carbon, and then it has a deleted column name slug. That's everything is probably exactly same. It belongs to a user. That's correct. And tasks have many subtasks. Public function tasks. So we're going to create a function called subtasks, has many subtasks, and we can also call inverse function here project, which means it belongs to a project. And that should be enough. We have user, project, belongs to a project, belongs to that, has many tasks, subtasks. That's all good. And let's just go to let's just copy or leave it that way and go to subtask and do the same thing. And here we are going to call it, let's import, and then call it subtasks. Delete that date stamp. Everything is okay. Due date is okay. Then it belongs to a user, and this is always good if you want to find a user associated with the subtask, just in case if you start creating subtasks in a group. So you want to find out who created this task. So it's always good to create this inverse relationship. And maybe we're going to create a user has project and has task through this one, and can also have subtasks through app task. We can also do that, I guess. So I'm not sure that's going to work. We'll try later on. We can go up to 2 steps, that's fine. And this is going to be a task, belongs to app task, that's fine, and it doesn't have any subtasks, so just get rid of that. That's our subtasks table and all that. Everything is good. Now the next thing we need to do is open our project controller, or in the routes it's listening to project controller. So we need to open our project controller. Here we're going to specify which view we are going to present. Let's say we'll try to present here hello after the user has registered and logged in. Now we migrated our tables, so let's go back to the browser, and here to app 2016, and let's try to register. let's use your name, Eric. Now if this is registration is successful, we'll be taken to projects and we'll get hello, and that's all good, which means it's listening to the correct controller and method. So instead of hello, we'll try to serve the view. Now the view is going to be pages.projects.home. That's just what I chose, but you can of course change the name of the view, it doesn't matter. So resources has views, has pages, has no projects folder. So let's create one. I'm gonna call it project/home dot, or just call it projects for now. And then I'm gonna go ahead and create a first file that's going to be home.blade and delete that. Now this is going to be our first view, and this is going to extend like I mentioned in one of the other videos, we are not extending the app directly. We're extending one of the files from the partials body with side nav, because this file already extends app. So we'll just extend this file, and this is extending app already. So we'll extend partials dot body with side nav, and partials dot body with side nav, and then we will call it @section content, because if you look at this file here, body with side nav, body with side nav, it's complaining body with side nav. Okay, that's okay. So it's using this @yield content, so we're gonna have to provide the content right here, and then we're gonna end it. Now inside here, we'll create first we need to create the title of the page, and what's the current time will display on the top. So let's start with the bootstrap container and give it a row and a column. Inside the column we're going to use h2, and we're going to say this is going to be projects. That's what we're going to display here. And let's just say span.pull, let's display a clock and pull it to the right side, and we're going to call it a variable, which is going to be today. And also we're going to display a variable called current time. Yeah, that's good, because I would like to see what's the date today and what's the current time today. And then the next thing I would like to see is, and align it to the left or center or wherever you like, but I like it in the left side, that's better. Then I'm gonna add a new row, and I'm gonna add a new column, and I'm going to call what would I like here? So this is going to this column right here is going to have all the display of all the tasks in the table, and on top of the table we want to display buttons to add the task and do some things. So I'm going to create two divs. This is going to be the buttons div, and this is going to be the table. And this table only works if we're going to pass in the all projects created by this user, and if the count of projects as a variable, which is blade templating style, if the count is okay, and I'm going to end the count here. If the count is okay, I would like to create a table. So let's go to bootstrap table, and I want a responsive table, and in this table I would like to, excuse me, I'm just having water. I'm gonna add another table condensed class That's just straight out of the box from the Bootstrap. So I'm going to define all the fields here, and I would like all these fields to be capitalized. So I'm going to give it a class capitalize, and let's just say I've got a helper class in the CSS which is for the Roboto font. So if you just type Roboto class, it's gonna pull up, it's gonna use Roboto fonts for everything inside this class. And let's just say ID, and then make another copy. I'm gonna call it a name of the project, and I'm gonna call author of the project, which is the user, and give me all the tasks associated with this project. And I also would like to know when was this created, and also I would like to know when was this updated, and then I would like to know the due date, status, and actions. Due date, status is currently active or finished, and actions you want to delete or whatever. And then this is, I don't want this to repeat for every single for each project, but if there's a count, use it once, display on the top, and then in the body I want to run this loop, which is going to be @ for each projects as project for every project, and then after the body make sure to end that loop. And inside the body, what we're trying to do is give it a little bit of tab. We are trying to here we're trying to output the ID, project ID, and we'll try to also give a name, so name, and we'll give the user, so project has a user and user has a name. And then the next thing we want here is the created at timestamp, created at. Now all the timestamps by default are treated as carbon instance, so we're going to play with them a little bit in the next video. I'm going to show you how. In this video we'll just get to the basic view. So updated that, and then next thing is we need the due date. Now the due date has been passed as a carbon instance. Project has due date, and then going to be project has a property called completed, and if that property is true, if that property is equal to false, then we will display. Now by default it's false, so we'll display it's pending, otherwise we'll display it's completed, and it'll be pending because it's not complete yet. And then the next thing we want to do is box for probably 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 and 8, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 and 8 and 9. I think we missed something here. So it has an ID, it has a name, it has a username, and all. Yeah, we missed the tasks that belong to this project. So I would like to get tasks, and then get those tasks. It has a function, and give me the count of those tasks. We want to know how many tasks this project has, and that's going to give us the count of those tasks. Now this is going to be the actions, and we'll create the actions in a minute, so just get rid of them. Okay, that's enough for this. Now what happens if the count is 0? We need to also do some kind of if there is no project, we need to give user a chance to create one. So that's our if the count of projects, then do this. If there's no count of projects, then I would like to give a message, sorry, no projects for front today, begin by creating a new project. Now a new project can be created using a anchor tag by creating this link that will take to the, let's just say we're going to call it, because we're using model windows, so we're going to give the name, the ID of the model window, which is, let's just say, create projects, because the model windows have been created already, the styling and the JavaScript has been already done, but you don't have the IDs. But if you use this ID, that's going to target that model window. I'm going to show you in a minute, but there's no model window right now. We have to create one with the same ID, and that's going to work. The script will take care of that. And then how to the bootstrap calls for this data dash toggle that we need to specify, which is going to be a model. That's just straight out of the box, straight out of the manual from bootstrap. That's going to take care of if the count is 0. And that's for the table part. And for the for this part where we are going to give an opportunity to create a new task, what we have to do is we will create, let's just say we want to push it to the right side, so div dot pull right, and then we want to create anchor tags, and the anchor tags will again call a model window, which is create projects, and class will be btn let's say small. Now I have created custom classes in this CSS, so we'll use btn green, and we'll call it, and the data dash toggle is of course model data dash toggle is, and we'll call it a new project. And of course we can also add some font awesome here, i.fa. Plus, and that's going to be a little bit of beautiful display. There will be a plus in the front, and of course that should help us with the. Now we haven't passed in these variables from the controller. We need to make sure we pass in today, the current time, the current time, so we'll call it current time, today, current time, and of course the projects. And of course we need to also pass in the that's it. So 3 variables we need to pass in. So we'll go here and we'll say give me projects is equal to, now authenticated user, whoever is authenticated, and then give me the projects, and order by created at. We're gonna order them as they, by the created at field, so we want the latest one the first, and get, that's going to give us the projects. And then of course we need current time, and the current time is basically carbon now, and we're gonna need today, and of course the for today is nothing but the carbon now, that's what it is, but just it's converted to the date instead of full date stamp, then the date time stamp. We're going to convert it to a localized format, and the format is going to be basically %a %. That's just straight PHP. You can check out on the PHP pages, and that's going to give you today. And current time is also a complete timestamp, so we have to convert that to a format. It's going to be hour, minute, and then AM, PM, and yeah, that's it. And then we're gonna pass in these variables here. So first one is going to be projects, second one is going to be today, and third one is going to be current time. And let's see what we get here. If I go here and just refresh, and we get these classes we haven't imported. So make sure to import these classes. Import this one, import carbon, and that should be good to go. And what happens? Show me something. So carbon format typing error. Typing is a problem. What happens now? Perseverance is the key, guys. Perseverance is the key. You're gonna get errors, that's fine. Now at 61 there is a t-string error, so let's troubleshoot. Format localized, and then authenticated user has projects, and we're going to give the projects order by created and so it's not here, it's actually here. So current time, and the current time is here at 61. 61 is not here. So one of the best ways to solve this kind of problem is by maybe the project. Yeah, I mean it's creating a problem. Okay guys, I found what the problem was. Sometimes it's very stupid. Okay, I forgot to put correctly here the end of this, and then if you try to refresh, we might get a new error. We'll solve one by one. Now it says undefined variable user. Now what the undefined variable user actually means, we haven't even used user here anywhere. So what we're going to do actually is try to open this file, which is body with side nav. If you open body with side nav, and it has top navigation and side navigation. Now we try to go to side navigation. In the side navigation you will notice that there is a user name in the side navigation, so we have to pass that in as well in our project controller. So user is authenticated user, and after doing that we'll pass in here, and that should give us, and that works. That's good news. Now you'll notice one thing, that everything is sort of aligned with the top, so we can solve this problem by going to our home page, and here the very first column, we're going to give it a margin top 70. Now this is a sort of a custom class, and I've got a lot of helper classes that I created, and all of them are in the CSS. So margin top 100, 80, 90, I've created them to suit myself. If you would like, I'll give you a copy of those helper classes to make your work easy in the future projects. But yeah, it took me a long time to create those classes, but everything that you can think of, for example, margin bottom 5 pixel, 10 pixel, 15, 20, and left, right, everything, padding, I've given everything. Now if you refresh, it should give you a top margin of 70 pixels, and everything should be visible properly. That looks much better to me. And now what I want to do is, this is way too big, I don't want to see this big, so I'm going to reduce the here the time. I'm going to add a class called small. And another thing I noticed just now, I'll show you that there is no title for the page. So every page will have a different title. So in your partials body with side nav, you'll notice that there is app, and if you go to app, you'll notice the title of the page. I'm yielding a title variable, a blade templating variable. So basically we can pass in the variable to every page. From the every page we can pass it to the base template. So at the rate title, like so. At the rate section, that's the blade templating format, is going to be title, and it's going to be projects, and we can call it 24 hours. That's good. Now if you try to see here, right now we can't really see much, but if you refresh, because there are no tasks, so we can't really see any tasks. And in order for this button to fire the model window, we have to create the model window. We haven't created any model window yet, but if you can and also the sidebar is working. Remember the username problem, username logout, and sidebar is working, so everything is good. Now you can try to get to this page, and then in the next video we'll add some project. We'll create the model window, and they'll give us the table, the table we've created, but right now there are no projects, so it's not showing us. So I hope you like this video, and make sure to subscribe and like, and make sure to put some comments, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.